Stick around. Just to clarify, y'all, when I was doing this, I had been sipping and smoking, and I spaced that Kujo's money was in limbo with the distributor or the publisher the entire time. So I do sound confused a couple times, but I do correct myself halfway through, and I think repeatedly, just so when I say it, you guys don't immediately start commenting. Also, I'm about 90% sure that if the contract does not specifically say how much Kujo owns of the publishing and the masters, if that's not clarified, it default gets split 50-50 because they both are considered contributors. It doesn't matter if Ren paid for the lease, unlimited or exclusive or any of that. He's leasing it. He is not buying it outright. The only way Ren would automatically get 100% of everything would be as if he bought it outright. So I'm not sure. It didn't really show the entire contract as far as that part. So when Ren's talking about he is not entitled to masters and stuff like that, I'm not sure if he's talking about in addition to what the publisher is already supposed to split. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me, is it's already getting split, right? And then he's asking for a portion of Ren's on top of it because Kujo lost his rights by not clearing that sample. And what typically happens is if you don't clear the sample, the person can come and ask for 50% of everything, which is, I think, basically Kujo had to give away his whole entire cut. So now he's trying to get it from Ren, so he at least made something. And I think he had Ren take it down because every time that is played, they owe the original copyright owner a cut every single time. So I think they came for more than what Kujo had, and he knew the longer that video stayed up, the more money he would owe them. So he was trying to make it right through Ren and stop the debt from racking up while he was trying to get the money to make it right. That's my opinion. It's rap o'clock. Word. So I heard I need to care about this. Why Sick Boi is off all streaming platforms, and apparently Ren is beefing with the producer that made him the beat for. Is it high? No, it's not High Ren. I feel like that was way too high of a profile song for him to let something like that stop. But Sick Boi, which I think is another one of his top songs. So you see what this is about. I think I understand copyright and the way royalties work, and what the defaults are to be expected when it comes to going into these transactions more than your average person. So I hope that I can provide a valuable opinion here. Let's go.
This is a video that I never, ever really wanted to have to make.
Weird.
But it's very important for me that I do. All the time, artists all over the world.
I'm saying weird because this is like one of the most expensive mics you can get, quality industry standard for as far as the podcast and stuff goes, but for some reason it sounds like trash.
Their souls into their work. And that work is tainted by money or greed. A lot of you will have been asking me the question why Sick Boi has disappeared now, as well as YouTube on streaming services. It's a video that was very close to me. It's a video that told my story about my health. It's a video that told the story of many other people who have been gaslit by the medical community. It's a story of greed in the music industry, ironically, funnily enough. It's also a song that I poured tens of thousands of pounds into for a music video, for promotion. It was also
tens of thousands. Oh, for promotion. So not for production. He must have been running Facebook ads, possibly, maybe even YouTube ads.
Title of the only tens of pounds into for a music video, for promotion. It was also the leading.
Or he probably was paying someone else to do it out.
Title of the only #1 album that I've got, so I was very, very proud of it. And we'll no longer have that song, guys. And I want to go into the reasons why. Also, I do recommend sticking around to the end of this video because I've got a very exciting announcement about all of this that relates to all of this right at the end. People who have been following me for a while, they'll know the sort of person I am. They know the principles that I have, and they'll know how I treat other independent artists. So they'll know why it was so important for me to have to make this video. And I want it to be as unbiased as possible. Obviously, I'm emotionally affected by it, and that may leak in, right? But I want to share entire clips of these conversations so there can be no doubt. Also, if Kujo and his girlfriend want to share any more screenshots of other those conversations, I encourage them to, because I believe that this should all be public knowledge, so there can be no doubt Rather than taking people's words from it, I would like them just to see transparently what has happened here. To give context for all of this, back in 2022, I buy a beat from BeatStars, right? If anyone who doesn't know, BeatStars is a platform.
So from BeatStars, I'm very familiar with the platform. Let's go.
That connects producers to artists who need beats. I do produce most of my own work, but I wanted to find some hip-hop beats for inspiration. What I would usually do is buy a beat, arrange it slightly differently, tweak it myself, add my own vocals, add my own layers and stuff like that. I find this banging beat, right, from a producer called KUJOBEATS, which I buy an unlimited license for. This is all very important to keep in mind.
So unlimited license, it's, if you take the time to stop and look, basically it means he can make as many of the songs as he wants. He doesn't have to renew his lease. Normally there's a threshold of streams you have to get. Then when you hit that threshold, you have to repay the lease. But this is unlimited use. But it does not look like there's no ownership or anything in here. So
later on, right, I buy an unlimited license, which means that I am able to put it on all streaming platforms and get as many streams as I want, and all recording on platforms like YouTube, etc. Right? After I do this, I send my YouTube guy that I work with, and I send a publishing team an email just giving them a heads up, being like, yo guys, I bought this beat, they need to be registered correctly, content ID needs to be turned off. I'll put a clip of that. I'm putting screenshots of those messages here just in case Kujo claims I never did this. I did do this. I also went the extra mile and messaged the team and said, look, we need to credit him on Spotify credits and stuff like that as well, because sometimes artists don't always fully credit producers. I think that
which is a big deal. Producers are entitled to literally 50%, bro. When someone makes a beat and someone writes the lyrics, it's just like two people sat down and made whole song together. Like you wrote half the lyrics, or you wrote half the lyrics, or you made half the beat, or he had made half the beat. It doesn't matter if someone wrote and someone produced. Either way, it's supposed to be 50-50. Unless there's other reasons why it wouldn't be that, but like default lease, that's what it would be.
To do it in the YouTube description for like first month or two, and then I updated it, and then he was fully credited the whole time, right? Okay. That was just a lapse because there was a lot going on. I was in Canada treating and stuff. But anyway, he was credited fully very soon everywhere, and as far as I was aware, registered everywhere. So I don't think anything of it, right? Also, in the BeatStars contract, it says very clearly that the person selling you the beat has to own the beat. And if there are any elements of the beat that he doesn't own, he has to let you know. This is very important to remember for what is to follow as well, right? So I think there's no problems. I buy the beat. I record a song, and this is before things have blown up with my music, so I'm still pretty underground artist at this point. I record the track, put it out. I even get a message from him at some point, which is also important to remember because of the hypocrisy of this whole situation. That's like, wicked, I love the track. I can remember that too. Before I begin, I just want to add this. I have no problem with BeatStars. I think they're a very innovative company who actually help people make art, which I'm very, very passionate about. I think the contracts and the things you're getting into could be clearer, because we're now in a situation negotiating older tracks bought from BeatStars. I would love to talk to the...
So Ren is absolutely right here. I guess I didn't fully understand how BeatStars contract works, but just knowing what I know, I understand that most people do not understand how licensing and samples works. So I don't know, when I buy something from a producer, I go in it with the intent that like, if I make money off this, and there's an unlicensed sample in there, then that's something I'm going to have to deal with down the line. It's going to cost some money, but these are just things that happen. But
if anyone from there is watching, I imagine they will be.
That's just because I've seen a lot of things like this go down, but I didn't know that was a clause in there.
At some point, I would love to talk to the CEO, founder of BeatStars, face to face, just because I want to understand how something like this could have happened, and I want to understand why it escalated the way it did. Because
this happens all the time, man. Okay.
From what I've heard, he's someone who cares a lot about artists, and someone who creates a platform like that, I think, must be very passionate about music. I'd love to chat to you if you're listening, and I'd love to figure out why this happened and how we can stop things like this happening in the future. I also think that there needs to be a bit more stringent.
The reason it happened is because they don't check. That's what that contract actually is. You think that they're middleman, but that contract is 100% to get rid of their liability in the situation. They're not going to pay thousands of beats they would have to search and try to clear, and there's a reason that contract is there for them to be a middleman without being held liable.
Checks on if people are selling unlicensed samples, because then things tend to get a little bit sticky like they have here. Anyway, that's it. I have no problem with BeatStars because I'm not interested in going to war with them, because I think that it's really cool that there's a platform like that that exists for artists and producers to be connected. Just thought I'd put that out there, make that clear. Right, so I arrive home from Canada after a 1.5 year long treatment of treating brain damage and autoimmunity, which a lot of you will know if you've been following my journey. And I'm expecting a nice 2 weeks with my mates before I do my first ever solo show in 5 years because of my health. So I'm just like, I want a nice chill time. I want to be able to focus on rehearsing and stuff. Very early on, I wake up to a message saying, yo, your song Sick Boi has been taken down. So I look at it, and sure enough, it's been copyright striked from this guy KUJOBEATS' channel. And initially I'm like, oh, this just must be some automatic fuck up. So like, I don't take it too seriously. I send him a message like, yo, there must have been a technical error or something here. No response for 2 days. So I'm like, what's going on? So I check his channel, and then I see a comment of that beat that he licensed me, and I see a comment that's like, "Ben has left me no choice. I'm sorry that I had to do this." And I'm like, but this was intentional. Like, what? Last conversation I had with this guy was months ago, with him being like, yo, big up your work, it's sick. So I'm like super confused about it. So I send him another email like, dude, what's going on? Again, I get absolutely no response. So I put a comment on his YouTube comment section, and I'm like, bro, I'm trying to get hold of you. Why are you ignoring me? I just want to resolve this amicably. What's going on? Finally, I get a response on Instagram. And for the sake of this video, I'm just going to put all of these responses in their full form so that there can be no doubt as to what happened. I'm just going to read out like key moments and explain the key moments. But if anyone's like interested in deep diving so there can be no doubt as to what's happened here, feel free to pause it. If Kujo and his girlfriend, like I said, feel like I've left anything out, they are welcome to post it. I have nothing to hide about this situation. So he responds, and he tells me that he's been talking to my lawyer for months, which I have no idea about. I've been in Canada. And he seems like quite a nice guy initially, so I'm like, maybe this has all just been a misunderstanding. I remember even saying to like Honor and that, I was like, this has probably just been a misunderstanding and something's gone wrong here. Don't worry. He seems like you're alright, dude. We'll sort this out. But then after that little exchange, I noticed a comment in the YouTube comment section on his video saying that I'm lying about the situation.
The summary of this I heard was different. I thought that there was something about a sample not getting cleared involved in this. Really, he just rug pulled him. He just pulled the beat out from under him and just straight up is not honoring the contract.
When I thought that we'd on the same page here, so I pull him up on it, and he's like, oh no, I didn't say you were lying, when he clearly did. That should have been like first red flag for me, but still giving him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, maybe another misunderstanding. Anyway, so I contact my lawyer to find out what the hell's happening, because I'm in the dark about all of this situation. And he explains to me that I've been sold a beat with a stolen sample, with an unlicensed sample.
Oh, there is an unlicensed sample.
The Bulgarian choir sample owners chased him and gone, look, you've used this beat without permission, you've used this sample without permission, so you need to give us 50% of the publishing split. And what my lawyer's done, because we were sold a beat in good faith and it wasn't actually cleared, he's reached out to Kujo and gone, look, I think you need to absorb this for selling this in bad faith, basically. And they've gone, no, we're not going to absorb that. And then it's escalated, and I think because my lawyer was being slightly slow with the responses, they also, keep in mind, I don't know any of this is happening right now. To get my attention, they issue a copyright strike on the video, which affects my YouTube channel, by the way, and the video gets taken down as a form of leverage, which is a bizarre way of dealing with things, I think, because it would have been a good idea to contact me, maybe, anyone first, if this was getting so blown up. Maybe the lawyers, maybe Kujo could have actually reached out to me, the artist. Nobody did. So I found that a bit bizarre. Any fucking way. Then I read another comment that Kujo's posted, calling me a coward to pay the royalties he's owed.
Wow. Without receiving, oh, this nigga doesn't understand the contracts he's entering.
And I'm like, what royalty? That's also, in my head, the publishers are just paying him the money, and now that
right, exactly. The publishers are supposed to be taking care of the split if the song was registered properly.
Situation has to change until everyone
depending
agrees on
on
it.
what
I wasn't
distributor.
even privy to that conversation about what a fair split should be yet. So I was like, what? I don't owe you. I don't owe this guy money. Like, there's no master splits on the BeatStars contracts, by the way. So all money that comes in to Kujo, which should be paid to Kujo, right, comes from the publisher, which has nothing to do with me, by the way. I explained this so many times in this conversation, by the way, and he's adamant to say, probably short of like 50 times, pay me my money. I am nothing to do with his money, right?
He doesn't understand the contract.
But I try to explain.
He doesn't understand the contracts he's entering, which is a big problem when it comes to rap.
to him patiently, never really takes it in. Anyway, he calls me a coward on this comment, so I pull him up on that. This actually starts to then rub me up a little bit, so I'm like, I pull him up on that. It's saying like, the hell, like, cowardly. Anyway, I'm still giving him the benefit of the doubt at this point. Anyway, despite this, I feel like he's probably just misinformed, so I still
extremely
take his side
misinformed.
on it, and I go on to reassure him.
Dude just doesn't know what he's talking about at all, sounds like.
He'll get paid his publishing money because I want him to get paid his publishing money. Doesn't affect me in any way, so like, I'll chase it up for you. I let him know that I'm happy to split publishing if there's a bit of a grey area, and I'm really assuring him. It's really important to remember this, by the way, guys, because some of the lies that are posted later make me out to be really unreasonable. So I'm like, if there's some simple mistake, let's split the publishing. It's cool. I'm happy to do that. Anyway, so he comes back to me and lies more. He says it's always up to the performer to clear the sample. It's not. It's up to the producer. But unless there's been a conversation. But in this case, as you can see, we're willing to make concessions for you to get your fair share. So actually, it's me making the concessions here because he sold a stolen sample. Like, you know what? You can still have some publishing split, right? So like, I'm actually being the one that's being quite reasonable here, and he's flipped on his head like, we'll be good to you because I've done nothing wrong in this situation. Anyway, I was like,
he's wrong.
And then he says,
right.
I was under the impression you would have received a warning. I had no idea that the video would be completely taken down. Another lie, as you'll see soon.
Definitely have an option.
Lawyer agreed to take.
You definitely have an option when you copyright strike it. You can choose to have it taken down, choose to take all of the money, or choose to split it with a reactor or creator or whatever. If he's going through YouTube Content ID,
this video down as a form of leverage. It was our only possible negotiation tactic.
Which, by the way, if he had his shit set up properly, Ren's distributor would be getting the money from YouTube. And then they would automatically distribute it, half to him, half to Ren. Automatically by default. That's already what it should be happening.
To get a response, maybe message me. They're scratching their head. How can we get a response? Oh, take his video down, issue a copyright strike, which also, I didn't actually violate the contract intentionally. So, only possible tactic, dude, message me.
The only one that violated the contract was Kujo, for sure. But the way these contracts work is, like I said, it's just this contract in particular is just to keep BeatStars' hands clean of anything. At the end of the day, these guys, the contract had to do with how much you lease and stuff like that. Like BeatStars said, you should own everything, but if you don't and the song still goes out, that's still something you are going to have to deal with in the long run, right? It doesn't necessarily matter if the artist didn't know, unfortunately.
Send me an email, message me before to tell me that you love my work. So like, send me an email about this. Anyway.
Which is why Ren's lawyer was contacted about in the first place, to tell them, I think you should absorb this. But that's definitely something that there's no for sure one party has to take it. It's kind of a gray area. It's basically you guys both have the responsibility to clear samples at the end of the day.
He says he also wants to wrap it up immediately and get the song back online. Another lie, as you will see later on, because he decides to stick to his guns and use the video as leverage. Anyway, the plot thickens. I get an email from their lawyer. No, I'm not going to share it in case they start claiming I'm sharing things I'm not supposed to. But I get an email and it says, on top of the publishing split, they want a £3,000 payment, right? They want a 15% retroactive split of the master, which has nothing to do with publishing, which means like 15% of everything.
Whose lawyer is this? What does a lawyer doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about either.
The song has ever made since it came out.
You're trying to negotiate afterward. Oh, good luck.
Retro.
If there's no contract and if there's no negotiation like that in the first place, it automatically goes to 50-50. That's it. There ain't no going back and negotiating, unless the only person who has rights to go back and negotiate is the actual person that owns the sample. And unfortunately they can go after Ren and Kujo both equally, but I guess Ren's lawyer probably pointed them in Kujo's direction, or really once he contacted him and was like, yo, you should eat this
proactively. So since it's come out to this moment and then into the future, when I've paid for an unlimited sample, unlimited license beat, and with that you're talking money from record sales, you're talking money from streaming things, you're talking all of that, when they haven't put any effort into promoting the song. He's made a beat and he's stolen part of the beat, and he wants 15% of everything the song has ever made for that, plus a £3,000 advance. Out of principle, I wasn't going to give him that, but because
hello,
going on please let me get my tablet?
You can try to knock on her door and see if she'll give it to you. Are you sure she has it? All right.
But that why
She's not here.
I want my tablet.
You go in and you just look quick. And if you don't see it, you stop looking. You don't go digging around. Hear me?
Yes.
All right.
I may have been slightly open to negotiations if they hadn't used the song as leverage and actually treated me like a decent person. I hadn't put like lies about the situation, right? But nah, out of principle, I wasn't going to agree to that. And also to clarify, when I've been in rooms with producers and we've made a song from scratch, I've done a lot of like 50-50 splits, or I've done like 25-75, or with other collaborated artists, we just agree on a split that's like 50-25. So your 15% isn't outrageous, right? What's outrageous is that they already sold it with an unlimited license right from the get-go. So you go into BeatStars thinking, I'm buying an unlimited license for this much money, right? And I was broke at the time when I bought that beat. So you go into the situation buying something, and then later on down the line, it can come back and sting you if they go, oh, this slight thing, well, we found a loophole here, which means that now you owe us all this money, right? So it's like...
So if Ren understood or thought that the distributor was already doing the split... Oh, so he's talking about retroactively going back and paying 15%. But what about going forward?
So you buy a painting.
Either way, doesn't even sound like either of them are talking to the right party. They need to talk to whoever actually owns the license to see exactly how much is owed first, and then go backwards. How much is owed to actually clear this?
Somebody for £10.
Because when Kujo takes it down, he's stopping the amount of money that he is going to own the original license holder. You understand? So he's taking it down, which is out of pocket for asking money from Ren, and the fact Ren paid for it. But like, he's trying to take it down to stop the amount of money that the other party can sue him for. I hope that makes sense.
Price of it rises exponentially because maybe the painter dies or something, or he becomes really popular.
So like, unless that's resolved, it sounds like this Kujo guy messed up and he's blaming everyone but himself.
Back to the person you sold it to and go, oh, that painting's worth like 20 times more now, give me a bit more money for it, because the transaction's been done. And that's kind of how I felt about the BeatStars thing. It wasn't about me losing money, it was about the principle of like, we've stepped into this agreement, and I was in full faith thinking I was buying an unlimited sample, but that's unlimited license, sorry. But that's not actually what's happened, is it? Right? And it says that if I don't agree to this, they're within their right to claim 100%.
So that is what happened. He was sold an unlimited license. The only one that is entitled to any sort of litigation on this, I would imagine, is the original sample holder. This Kujo guy is just not, it doesn't make sense. Right, he already sold him unlimited lease, so he should be collecting his money on the back end through the split through the distributor.
Of the song because I have breached something in the contract, right?
Wait,
now, 100% of the song because I have breached something in the contract. Now, this is what I breached. Apparently, Content ID was turned on the track on YouTube. As you'll see from my earlier on in this video, I actually specifically requested Content ID was turned off, and my YouTube guide did turn it off. There has been something to do with the distribution where somewhere along the line, even after I specifically requested this, it may have gotten turned on at some point, right? Where this doesn't actually make any money, which we've got proof of, because I actually let reactors, I let content creators monetize their own videos where they're reacting to my songs. I've done this since the start because I believe that everyone should get paid. It helps promote me. I'm not losing out. Everyone's a winner. A rising tide lifts all ships, baby. So I'm like, they're using this as leverage, but legally, thus is the world. They actually had something to lean on with that. So they were like, look, if you don't agree to these terms, 15% retroactive master split, this share on publishing, £3,000 advance against the master, we're going to take 100% of what you own.
No, they
At this
can't.
point, I'm obviously
absolutely not going to do
pretty annoyed.
How are they going to do that?
Which is pretty understandable, right? Anyway, at this point, they've got my attention, so there's no reason they need to use the video for Sick Boi as leverage, right? So I give them a fair warning. I'm like, mate, if you don't put the video back up on Friday, I'm going to have to put a public post explaining why it's down. And I give him a fair warning, which is also important to remember, because later on he plays the victim, saying that I've put a post encouraging my fans to bully him, which I didn't. I gave him a fair warning about it. I never once encouraged them to bully him. I just needed to explain why my video was down, because this was proper stressing me out, and I feel like I didn't want to be silenced about the whole situation.
It's a big song for him too.
I put the post out, and I'm always still thinking for like positive solution here. So I have like brainwave of like
when I first started covering Ren, that was probably my second or third suggestion.
Brilliant solution, right? So I approach him and I'm like, dude, look, I know that things have got complicated here, but out of principle, I don't really want to budge on the master split for this thing, but I've got a much better idea, because a lot of my fan base are now giving him, because I put the public post out, a lot of my fan base are giving him grief, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want this guy's life to get ruined because of this. Like, despite how frustrated it's made me, I don't want this guy to get ruined. I don't want him to get abused about it. I just want him to get the song back. That was the thing. So like, I sent him a message. I'm like, dude, look, I thought of a thing, because I am a man of principle. I didn't want to bend to threats and stuff about the song being claimed 100%. So I'm like, I've got a much better idea. Let's make a song. We'll split it 50-50 down the middle. Master, publishing, everything. A song from scratch. Then if we do that way, it'll be like a fuck you to the industry. You and me on a track. Make way more money this way, because it's 50-50. You'll also get my fan base on your side. It's going to be a great thing, because I'm always like, I want to look forward. I don't want to look backwards. I don't want to look at all these things that happened in the past. This is actually going to make him even more. And he rejected it. He turned it down, which I still think to this day is a bit of a silly move given what happened and what happened next. But it's a shame, man. And if you're watching this, you really should have taken that. I'm sure you are watching it. You really should have taken that deal. It was brilliant. Not only would it set you up with way more money, which is obviously what you most care about in this situation, but it would also got loads of my fans on your side, which would also set you up for all things that you release independently as well, and you'd have come out of this looking good. Shame. I offered you that olive branch. I offered quite a few olive branches on numerous occasions, which you weren't interested in. Then after that, there's a post on Instagram saying that I've stolen samples from people, which is bizarre because I never have. So I send him a message being like, he said that a British artist has got in touch with him and been like, steal samples, which is obviously complete made up bullshit, right? So I messaged him about that. I'm like, samples have I stolen? The Vera Hall one that I just put out, totally cleared. We cleared that with publishing company, because I actually don't like steal my samples. And then any covers that I've done, they're just on YouTube. You're allowed to do that because there's a cover license on YouTube. So like talking about, to which he then just like takes the post down, and then like
distributors that give you cover license too for streaming, Ren, for sure. And then I think DistroKid might be one of them.
Goes on some other fucking tangent.
Maybe TuneCore.
So it's like straws here to make me look like the bad guy. So we arranged to have this call with the lawyers and Kujo, and I'm actually really excited to have the call, because it's the first time I can talk to Kujo face to face, deal with this like groups, like and talk to each other. It's not how it pans out. So we get on the call, and the first thing that happens is the lawyer just says, look, Ren, I think that you taking this public was very unprofessional. And I was like, hold on a second, I wasn't the person who took this public, first of all. Like, video down is an aggressive move, and also I didn't take it public. First of all, Kujo was commenting countless things on his YouTube before I even made the comment, calling me a liar, a coward, a numb. Like, that I took this public? Nah, I just responded to what happened and then explained to my fans why the song was down. Those posts are still up for everyone to see. All the posts on his comments are still everybody to see. So first of all, it was kind of got into it straight away with me like happy, like I put it straight, and then everyone was like, okay. Funniest thing about that call is Kujo was on it. He did not say a single word. Even when I like address questions, his lawyer would interject and go, I can answer that. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of talk to the person who's like, you know, I want to talk to this person. And then my lawyer, there's even a moment where my lawyer's like, I want to address this question to Kujo. Do you actually feel like this situation is fair? He says nothing, and the lawyer interjects again. So for that whole call, which, you know, half an hour, 40 minutes, he didn't say a single word. And I thought that was disrespectful, given the circumstances. He later claimed that it was because he doesn't legally know enough and it should be between the lawyers. But no, man, like, with your legal knowledge, we can still have a conversation like adults. Like,
okay, in this, right? It sounds like they both don't. Like, that contract is there just to protect, again, that contract is there just to protect the distributor from getting chased down for any uncleared calls. You guys are supposed to handle the split either personally between you guys as a different financial transaction, or you're supposed to just register with one of the ones that will do the split for you, like a DistroKid or a TuneCore. Not all of them do that, though.
And like, or anything like that. I want to talk to you like a grown-up, brother. And
But I don't know if you can go back and retroactively ask all that stuff either, because like an unlimited lease is not the same thing as ownership. You're leasing the right to use that as an equal contributor, from what I understand. So the default should be 50-50 most of the time. It doesn't. Normally it doesn't really matter. Like, yes, there's certain cases with if one person is more popular than the other and they make some backdoor deal to like, oh, this is more beneficial to you because blah blah blah. But unless that is agreed upon, besides that, I mean, go 50-50.
And that didn't happen. I wasn't afforded that luxury. I was talking a fair bit on that call about how I felt about the situation and what I felt was right. And I also said on that call that I didn't think that a retroactive split was right. All the reasons I've mentioned, but it is what it is, man. And then we came off the call and I felt pretty let down by it, to be honest. This is where the plot gets even more ridiculous, and I'm sorry this is a long video, guys, but this is mad and this is emotionally exhausting, this bit. So I read a bunch of comments on Instagram from this person talking about the contract, saying things that aren't actually in the contract. I'm like, who the f is this? So I messaged him and be like, yo, by the way, you're misinformed. The contract actually doesn't state that it's on me to clear the samples. Then I click on the profile, I realise that it's Kujo's girlfriend, so I immediately unsend all those messages. Because to be honest, look, he was getting grief from my fans, and I think to myself, you know what? He needs someone supporting him, even though that he's been an arsehole. I don't want to like start messaging his girlfriend and shit, whatever. I'll leave her out of this.
Sure.
But she sees that I've unsent the messages, and she instigates the conversation, says, have you done an oopsie? We start chatting for a long time. We'll put those messages up so that you can read it. It actually ends up being, it seems to me, like it's like semi-amicable after a while of talking to each other. Like you can pause this and read this if you want. It's long and short of it is like she was like Kujo's been misrepresented and feels like it's a lot of the industry's fault, my lawyer's fault and stuff like that, which is kind of Kujo feels like, right? She then threatens to break my kneecaps, which even though it's a little bit out of pocket, you know,
a little bit out of pocket, fuck out the way out of pocket.
Up about even though it's a little bit out of pocket, you know me, I laugh about it. The thing that rubs me up about things like that is if that had been the other pocket, you know me, I laugh about it. The thing that rubs me up about things like that is if that had been the other way around, I never actually once got violent about this situation. If that had been the other way around, they would have been like, such a violent, later on they would have been like, such a violent person or using bully tactics, because they've spoken about like using bully tactics by simply talking about the situation publicly, transparently. She also gaslights me by saying, you know, what would have happened if he had mental health issues. I have a very long list of mental health issues. I am the person with mental health issues. You're not considering what it does to my mental health, are you, when you take down a song that means that much to me? A song that I've poured into, that I'm exposing a part of me that's very vulnerable about my health journey. Like, considering that, all I've done is post publicly about a situation. I've never told anybody to send you guys abuse or anything like that. And actually, if anybody's watching this right now, for clarity, even though I am very annoyed about the situation, I don't want anyone to send them abuse. I don't. You know what I mean? Like, annoyed about the situation, but it's done now. The song's down. It's gone. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I'm not trying to ruin somebody's life over this. I'll have my own form of revenge, as you'll see at the end of this video. But I'm not trying to ruin anyone's life over this. So, like, they say to me that I'm trying to incentivize stuff like that. I'm not, guys. I don't want you to go and abuse them, right? But it is up to me to talk about this situation fairly. So, like, seems to make some middle ground. She's even talking to me about like her ADHD and knows that I've got ADHD and like you've just got. And so I'm like, you know what? She seems pretty level-headed, right? So like, you know what?
I'll fly to London and kneecap you. She seems pretty level-headed. No, you got caught up in the conversation, Ren. She doesn't seem very level-headed at all.
Maybe these guys are. It's just a big misunderstanding, and we can figure a way to amicably sort this out. And I say to her, look, yeah, happy to split the publishing, but I don't really want to split the master out of principle because I bought this, right? You know, then at this point I start being like, you know what, maybe I'll split some of the master for the future stuff just to get this out of the way, even though I don't believe I should because they've stolen the beat with a stolen sample. I'm like, if this just gets this over the line, I'm happy to split the future master. I even say that in the email thread to the lawyers and stuff, right? So I'm like, I'm conceding a little bit here because I just want this situation done with. We end on a good note in this conversation. Then the next morning, I wake up to posts from her all over my Reddit lying about the contract. And then I see a comment on Anthony Ray's video where he's talking about the situation from her, saying this is what the contract says. And she made up She wrote a whole...
Anthony Ray, shame on you for just blindly following the word of someone that posted stuff on the internet instead of verifying it. That's wild, bro. You think the party, the girlfriend of the damaged party is going to be a reliable source? You're tripping.
Passage that wasn't even in our contract. It was completely made up. So after her being super nice to me behind the scenes in this conversation and feeling like we've read... I wake up to read this and I'm like... I start losing my mind because I'm like... These guys, they're like... They pretend they're on my side and then it's just like they publicly post all this stuff. So I'm like... I put her up on it. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, oh, this is defamation. You can't be out here like make stuff that's not even in the contract. You know, it's like,
that's true.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Right. So next, I find a bunch of messages on Reddit from Kujo's girlfriend lying about the contract, which I'm going to put up here, which is actually very illegal, by the way. Won't be pressing charges over it. I just want to get this situation out of the way.
Yeah, that is definitely fake. Get the. Did y'all read that? The producer undertakes no responsibility whatsoever as to any samples. What? That is absurd. He's the only one that would actually know where they come from directly to pay the proper part. You know what I mean? It's hard to figure it out. Once certain effects get put on it and it gets changed, sometimes it doesn't get discovered until years later. This case of this, right?
No, I won't be pressing charges over it. I just want to get this.
No, he said it was pretty early on.
Situation out of the way, but I'm just going to put all these up for you to pause and read if you want to. It's ridiculous, basically.
Absolutely ridiculous.
She also says that I was obviously upset, so I wasn't the most cooperative. As you guys, if you skip back in this video, you'll see I was extremely cooperative when I found out what was going on. I was being very amicable when I was trying to offer Kujo solutions and being amazingly supportive. And
why does he keep saying he's not getting paid, bro? Like, didn't Ren earlier in the video said that he thought that the distributor was giving him a split and that has nothing to do with it, right?
I refuse to fully.
So I think that would be up for debate if they went to court. If he was entitled to retroactively get a split because he let it go that far before he, you know, went to court or they had a conversation or whatever about it.
A mistake on my end causing Kujo not to get paid was at the heart of all of this. It wasn't a stolen sample was at the heart of all of this. Yes, the publishers, right, failed to correctly register Kujo, which wasn't anything to do with me. They've now remedied that and there'll be a back payment for whatever percentage we end up on.
Okay, see, that's what I'm saying. They were supposed to be paying Kujo the whole time. So he is retroactively going to get paid what he's owed. So now he's asking for Ren's cut. That's what's happening. I see.
No money's been lost.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
That is something that was the publisher's fault, which I was very annoyed about, which I actually sent a message to the publishers about explaining how annoyed.
So Ren is going to pay him back some money. He's just not going to pay him additional to what he's already retroactively paying him. He must, I mean, had to pay this back to the distributor.
I was about that situation, fighting for Kujo in that, when I didn't have to fight for Kujo because he was being a prick. Right?
Unless he's saying the distributor just didn't give him his money and they just held it.
So I sent that message to them anyway, fighting on Kujo's side, because despite all of this, I am a man of principle still, right? I kept threatening to sue and go public. No, I didn't. I wasn't threatening to sue. Say I would go public if my song carried on business leverage. I gave them a very fair warning because they didn't need to use the song, the video as leverage, and they kept on doing that. That was because I kept getting hundreds of messages a day from my fans being like, where's the video, where's the video? And I wanted to address it all at once. And I also felt like I was being treated extremely unfairly, right? To accept by giving up all my shares of the song in exchange for a fixed fee. Between my lawyers, Ren took in public the next morning. Yes, I did. Right, let's take this home now. At this point, I've just lost all amicability, right? I'm pissed off. I messaged Kujo's girlfriend and him saying, this is the first time I've threatened to sue, but I'm like, if I see any more lies from you guys about this situation, I will sue you guys. Because it's like...
So he's not suing, so at that point he would be suing for defamation, not for any rights directly tied to any money having to do with the song.
That's my public image. Like,
that's
I
fair.
Pride myself on the fairness that I show everyone that I work with, right? And my principles, and I'm also very against greed, and I stand against it militantly, which a lot of you will know.
So even though, yes,
he
he did threaten to sue, but not for what they're claiming. You see what I'm saying?
And how I treat people. How I treat people that I work with, right? So them spreading this stuff that I'm trying to be greedy here massively hurts my public image. So I was like, if you guys lie any more about this, yeah, to do something about it, basically. And then I'm talking to Kujo, and things get more heated. We get another email from their lawyer saying, you know, we won't agree to our terms. We will take 100% of the song. That's where we stand on it. That is final. If you do not agree to this retroactive master split.
This lawyer's full of shit. That is not final. They have to go to a judge, and then a judge would decide what is fair at the end of the day. And likely, it might be 50-50 for everybody because there was no initial contract.
We're taking everything. So I messaged back. I'm going to show you that email. I messaged back, essentially summarizing this.
Well, actually, no, not if the distributor was getting Kujo's money. I apologize. But yeah, he should have been any of the revenues that Bren was getting money from as cap, which would be like play, movie placement, stuff like that. And then just straight this Kujo, if he properly had his shit in order, he should have been getting a 50-50 split from the get-go.
This email, I just say, I'm going to take down the song myself. I'm fed up of this. I'm fed up of you threatening me with my own song that I poured myself into. I've explained what it means to me. I explained to both of them what it means to me. So I'm like, I'm taking it down myself. I don't want to let them win over this. I've been in situations in the music industry before where I had to concede because I was broke and I just had to let a powerful, greedy person win over me. You know, I know this is not the same situation. It's not like Kujo is like in this huge position of power here, but how they've dealt with this whole situation was ridiculous. So I was like, unlike this leverage, and just out of principle, I'm just going to take the song off. And it's ironic, man, because the song is about greed. You know, it hurts me a lot that it's down now. It proper hurts me, man. I can't stress that enough because of what the song was and what the song meant to me. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. So I sent these emails. I also sent a mass email out to everybody, the publisher, the lawyers involved, just saying how disappointed I am across the board, even from people on my side. I was just disappointed at how this whole situation, because ultimately at the core of this situation, the only person getting proper hurt financially from this is me, right? Because of my hard work that I've done to promote this music, because of my story and how that's been exploited. I'm the person who will suffer future losses for the earnings, and that regardless of earnings.
Unfortunately, that doesn't, regardless of who pays for the promotion, that doesn't affect what the ownership was. That would have had to been pre-agreed upon, and I think because there wasn't anything particularly pertaining to that between them, I'm pretty sure 50-50 would be the default judgment regardless of promotion, but I could be wrong.
Fuck earnings for a second. That song I was proud of. What it meant to people, I was proud of. Messages that I get from people every day. Me like, how
but again, likely the judge would see exactly where he was supposed to get the money from. For all we know, the money could be in limbo with distributor they used, DistroKid, likely, which is what he was talking about, the retro pay in the first place.
They relate to the song, how much it helps them through difficult times. You know, on now, that's taken away from people. So yeah, off. Anyway, so I sent that email out. Me and Kujo share some pretty heated words. If you're a petty person, you'll probably like to pause on some of this. It's ridiculous. One of the things that took the piss the most that he said when I, you know, just lost my cool at this point, I lost all patience. One of the funny things he said after all this was like, if you really cared about your fans, then you would leave them the song. So he was turning it around on me when he'd used the song as leverage. He said, if you cared about your fans, you leave it up for them. Then he said, I'm letting my pride and ego get in the way because I'm not paying him money that I didn't think he deserved for selling a stolen beat, right? He's saying that that's my ego.
That is a good argument too, though. It's a stolen beat, so like
he's just saying. He kept saying, "Just pay me."
So what? This is actually what happened. The distributor probably gave Kujo's portion to whoever claimed the sample. That's probably what's happened here. And Kujo is either still trying to clear the original sample, or he's pulling it down to stop him from accruing more damages on whatever party he did take it from if he didn't clear the sample yet.
The money, just give me my money. I explained to him again, like, I'm not the person that pays you the money. I've explained this to you so many times. It's the publisher. And he's like, all right, cool. It finally seems to sink in that, like, I haven't stolen this man's money. I haven't taken a penny of this man's money. The publisher was at fault for not registering it properly and never resolving that, and then he'll get his money from the publishing.
So it is in limbo with the publisher.
Money. Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever. He deserves a bit of money for making that part of the beat. Sure. He shouldn't have stolen a sample and sold it to me. theoretically, he could have all of his publishing taken away, but even after all of this, I still agree.
It would go the original
publishing split, just to shut him up. And so it's like, I'd have been even more petty and dug my feet in there, but I just want this situation over with. So the song's down. The funniest comment that I'm going to end this on, because this is going to be some album artwork, by the way. Single artwork, sorry. This is the next announcement. He goes, "Alright, peace. Your music sucks, by the way," which is really funny, considering
he wants money from it.
You know, message earlier where he told me that it was an honor, or it was like it was really good to work with me. You know, funny. It's funny, hypocritical, funny. But yeah, our music sucks, brother. Cool. That's gonna be single artwork, which leads me to my last point, ladies and gentlemen. I'm releasing a song about this whole situation, and it's dedicated to Kujo, and it's coming out next week. It's coming out a week today. It's called Kujo Beatdown. Love it. We made an amazing video for it. I made a beat. By the way, the beat has no unlicensed samples in it. I made the whole thing myself. I wrote all the lyrics myself, all the beats are mine. And that'll be going up on YouTube and Spotify next week. I'll also be recreating Sick Boi, because those lyrics and that arrangement is mine.
Yeah,
so for the anniversary of Sick Boi, the album, you will be getting Sick Boi, the beat, remade, bigger and better than ever, without Kujo's input on it. So look forward to that as well.
Nice.
And then there's also a third song dropping. There's a little bit more positive. Next week's song is angry, alright? I'm just going to warn you there. And before Kujo and his, like, before they start complaining about blah blah blah, artistic license here, you know what? I've said my piece. I'm not interested in ruining your life, bro, but I felt like I needed to get it out somehow. And so I got it out somehow. And I hope you're watching this, man. And I hope you enjoy the song, because it's dedicated to you, baby. Anyway, guys, I know that this was a long video, but I wanted there to be no doubt as to where everything stood in this situation, and why you don't have a song that means so much to so many people and means so much to me. But there will be a revamped version of that song coming very soon, guys.
All right, so the conversations back and forth are confusing, and it does sometimes shift you into forgetting that the publisher has Kujo's money. That's really who his beef is with. I personally think he's keeping it down because he still hasn't cleared the sample, and the more time that sells, the more money he's gonna owe the original copyright holder. That's my opinion.
Guys, and made it this far, thank you sincerely, and hope there can be no doubt as to this situation. Thank you.
All right, yo. All right, Pete, your music sucks, by the way. That's funny. Damn, AR did a whole hour-and-a-half video on this. I guess I just did an hour on it, so it is what it is. Word, I'm Gimmickless. This is a reaction, and until next time, that's a wrap. Peace.